In this video, we're going to answer the question, how much does it cost to run a 5-watt bulb for a year? Okay, the assumption is going to be that the bulb is left on 24/7. It's left on for the entire year. So the first question we want to answer is how much is the price per kilowatt hour? Okay, so kWh stands for kilowatt hour, and that represents the energy used of 1,000 watts over a period of 1 hour. So this is how it's listed on the electric bill, so that's what I'm going to use. So in order to do that, I'm going to look on my electric bill for the total price in dollars and divide that by the number of kilowatt hours used. So here's my electric bill. I don't use much electricity, but anyhow, you can see the number of kilowatt hours used. If we trace that across, that is 174. Okay, and the total price that I paid is $24.38. So to find the price per kilowatt hour, I'm just going to take the total price and divide by the number of kilowatt hours. Okay, so the price was 24.38. That was $24.38. And the number of kilowatt hours was 174. All right, I'll do this on the calculator, and I'm going to have to round off. And I get 0.1401. Okay, so I am paying approximately 14 cents for each kilowatt hour. Okay, the next thing we want to calculate for a 5-watt bulb is the number of kilowatt hours per year. All right, so that is just going to equal the number of kilowatts times the number of hours per year, the number of hours in a year. Now, most of you know that the prefix kilo equals 1,000. So 1 kilowatt is going to equal 1,000 watts. All right, and remember, when you have a conversion factor of something equals something, you can multiply by 1 over the other. In other words, you can put one of these in the numerator and the other one in the denominator. All right, so the number of kilowatts for a 5-watt bulb, if we start with 5 watts and we want to find out how many kilowatts, we said we can multiply by 1 over the other. Okay, this is a numerator, and we want watts to drop out because we want kilowatts, not watts. So since watts is in the numerator here, I'm going to put watts in the denominator right here. Okay, so that's 1,000 watts, and that equals 1 kilowatt. All right, like I said, we just multiplied by 1 over the other. So let's see. I'll do the actual calculation in red. All right, so we have the number of kilowatts right here, because watts divided by watts cancels. This is numerator, this is denominator. You can cancel units just like you can cancel the numbers. Okay, this here is the number of kilowatts. We need the number of hours in a year. All right, so first we know that we have 365, and I'll even account for leap year, 365.25 days in a year. So that's days per year. All right, days per year So it's just one over the other, days per year. All right, days per year, and we have 24 hours in a day. So 24 hours per day. All right, when you use the word per, P-E-R, you can make it into a fraction. Hours per day, hours divided by days. All right, so canceling units, days in the numerator and denominator, that cancels. And this is over a period of 1 year. Okay, so years in the numerator and denominator cancels. And we are left with kilowatts times hours. So that's what we want. So I am going to do 5 times 1 times 365.25 times 24. Those are all numerators. Hit equals and then divide by 1,000. Hit equals. Alright, just one small mistake on the units. I shouldn't have multiplied by 1 year. Okay, because we said we wanted kilowatt hours per year. So I do want to keep the years in the denominator. Okay, so I'm going to keep those years. So still the same numerical calculation. 5 times 1 times 365.25 times 24 divided by 1,000. And I get 43.83. In the numerator, I had kilowatt hours, so kWh. And in the denominator, I had years. Okay, so we're using 43.83 kilowatt hours per year. Now we said the price was 0.14, and the units on this was dollar, and this was the kilowatt hours that I used. So this is dollars per kilowatt hour. All right, and we have the number of kilowatt hours per year for a 5 watt bulb. So now we can calculate the price. All right, the total cost, it's going to be the price per kilowatt hour times the number of kilowatt hours. And the reason I knew how to set this up is because the kilowatt hours will cancel in the numerator and denominator, and we'll just be left with the price. All right, so once again, I'll do the calculation in red. All right, we said the price per kilowatt hour. We said that was $0.1401 per kilowatt hour. Okay, so that is 0.1401, and that's really in dollars per kilowatt hour. And that is going to be multiplied by the number of kilowatt hours per year. All right, I guess I should have wrote per year right here. All right, so 43.83. And that's kilowatt hours per year. All right. And canceling units, once again, numerator and denominator, we have kilowatt hours. Okay, and we're left with dollars per year, and that's what we want. So we have nothing in the denominator except for units. 0.1401 times 43.83, and that equals 6.14. And that's dollars per year. So that is the final cost to run a 5 watt bulb for a year. So notice the price is basically just a little bit more than the actual wattage. So you can basically extrapolate, or you can use this ratio really if you want to calculate it for a different wattage. So let's say for example you wanted to do 80 watts. if you had an 80 watt bulb. There might not be such a thing. And you would just multiply that by 6.14. And that's the total price for a 5 watt bulb. Alright. And then watts over watts would cancel. And you would just do 80 times 6.14 divided by 5. And that's 98.25. So at the going rate, the price to run a certain wattage for the whole year is going to be a little bit more than the actual wattage itself. Anyhow, though, this was the final answer for a 5 watt bulb, $6.14 per year.